invented by a security system from Protection One, one of the largest home security companies in the country. Now, for a limited time, you can get a remote response system including installation for just $99. It comes with a convenient remote control that allows easy operation whether you're in or out of the house. And with our 24-hour monitoring and lifetime service program, all for a low monthly fee of about $1 a day, the people you love will feel safe and secure from burglaries, fire, and medical emergencies.
He'll keep watch over your house night and day.
Our lifetime service program will keep your security system in top-notch condition.
Call Protection One at the toll-free number on your screen to schedule a free in-home security evaluation. And just for phoning, we'll send you a helpful booklet with tips on home safety and security. So call today. Protection One, the security you need from the team you trust.
New vaccination for school kids details Monday at 4.
You're watching San Diego's #1 source for news. Right here, right now. This is News 8 at 5.
It's like a train going through the house, and the trees were hitting the house real hard. And
a sleepless night in San Diego. Santa Ana winds blow through the county, waking up thousands of people. The Santa Ana winds are our top story tonight at 5. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Pamela Davis.
And I'm Don Teague. The winds were the strongest overnight in the inland areas of the county, but the Santa Ana winds are also bringing some welcome weather along our coast.
Sean Stiles begins our team coverage live in Pacific Beach.
Dawn, Pamela, it's been a fabulous day around the county, and we can thank the Santa Ana winds, as you said, to that weather. It's just fabulous down here, attracting a lot of tourists from up in the Los Angeles area. We were talking to a few earlier, and a lot of San Diegans down along the coastline. The reason why the weather has been so nice is because the way the high pressure has built in, and we've got some video for you here to show you. As you look at the western satellite loop, you can see the storm track is well to the north of us, going through parts of Idaho, Montana, and into Wyoming. But look at over the desert southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, southern Nevada, and California dry. And you notice the clouds starting to make their way in. They can't quite do it. Well, as we come back to you live here, you can see those clouds sitting just offshore, making for a fabulous sunset. And a lot of people down here just enjoying a wonderful evening. Now, as the sun goes down, things will cool off quickly because there's very little in the way of cloud cover to keep that warm air in. So we'll have the radiational cooling. I'll tell you if this Santa Ana is going to make for one more beautiful day in San Diego coming up in just a minute. But Amy Nuzzo was in the East County, and she has this story.
Daybreak brought relative calm. The tattered remains of a windsock over the Pine Valley Creek Bridge rocked in the waning Santa Ana winds. Trees stubbornly held their ground. So did drivers who breezed by signs along Interstate 8 warning of the danger.
This big Chevrolet moves, and when it's moving this Chevrolet, you know it's blowing pretty hard. There's a guy in a little green pickup that the wind just blew his camper off, and they were chasing it down the highway.
In the quiet town of Pine Valley, folks were recovering from an unusually noisy and sleepless night.
You know, about the time you fall asleep, the wind would hit the house, or you hear the trees hit pretty hard, and so then you fall back to sleep and then wake back up.
Gusts measured up to 50 miles per hour, but some residents say it felt even stronger than that.
It was probably 60, 70 mile an hour winds. Our patio furniture's out in the middle of the yard, and it's made out of wood, so it whistles. Sounds like
whole house is
trains coming through.
Yeah, you get the whole train effect.
Even the horses weren't their usual selves this morning.
I'm sure the horses had a pretty heavy night of it, and they're all a bit spooky this morning. They're all jumping around.
Wait, that's par for the course up here.
Old-timers at Major's Coffee Shop weren't fazed one bit.
My biggest worry was having to rake the leaves today. They blow down lots of them every time it blows. A dozen bags, garbage bags of leaves.
After all, the wind-whipped people of Pine Valley have weathered conditions far more severe. Amy Nuzzo, KFMB News 8.
Now, as Amy reported, the winds were 50 miles an hour sustained. That is the National Weather Service report. But valleys and canyons can enhance those winds so easily they could have seen 60 or 70 mile an hour winds. Now, those wind advisories and warnings have been dropped. It looks like the main brunt of the Santa Ana is drifting more towards the south and east, and therefore we won't see those strong winds. We'll tell you if the warm weather will stick around and tell you about the unbelievable weather pounding the East Coast coming up in just a bit. Back to you in the studio.
Okay, thanks, Sean. We'll check in with you later.
Well, meanwhile, people in the East and Midwest are still suffering from the latest devastating snowstorm.
Adding to the problem is heavy fog, which has stranded people at several airports. Paul James has more.
Residents in parts of the Midwest and Northeast spent the day digging out of winter storms. After being pelted with snow and ice, rising temperatures fogged in several airports in the Northeast. In Washington and Philadelphia, flights were delayed, canceled, or had to be rerouted to other cities.
They told us an hour before we left home that it was on schedule, and when we came, we were in line out front, and they said it was canceled. So we're just waiting.
I wish the lines were a little quicker so I could find out if and when I'm leaving. It's kind of frustrating to have to sit here and not know what's going on for this long.
The airport is probably going to be closed up until noon.
In Connecticut, the icy weather stranded many travelers at Bradley International Airport.
This is an act of God. We can't control that. So that I'd rather be on the ground safe than up in the air flying around and don't know if I'm going to make it or not.
In western New York, frigid temperatures created an ice bridge over parts of Niagara Falls. A fresh blanket of snow and ice covered areas of Ohio and Indiana Friday. Private contractors and city crews worked through the day clearing roads. Chicago is in a deep freeze where residents are still cleaning up after last week's Midwest blizzard.
We had the high lift here. We had a salt truck coming to drop salt. Yeah. And we've had some of the neighbors come out, and we've been helping them shovel so they can relocate their cars.
The city has already spent more than $30 million so far on snow removal. In New York, Paul James, KFMB News 8.
And many people in the Canary Islands are in the dark this weekend. A hurricane-sized storm slammed this tiny nation off the coast of Africa yesterday. The good news is there are no reports of deaths, but there are several injuries and lots of damage. Winds are reaching now up to 62 miles an hour. Flights in and out of the island are also delayed, and several ferry ports have been closed.
In other news tonight, police in Valencia Park are investigating a murder. It happened just after midnight in the 5100 block of Imperial Avenue. Police say a 43-year-old woman was shot several times. The victim's identity isn't being released until her family is notified. So far, police have made no arrests in the case. And a SWAT standoff ended peacefully early this morning on the Ocean Beach Pier. Police say Lance Clayton stood on the pier, fired several shots into the air, and threatened to kill himself before he surrendered. Clayton was taken to a county mental health facility for evaluation.
Well, police in Escondido are looking for the person who left a pipe bomb on a school campus. A teacher found the bomb at Oak Hill Elementary School late yesterday afternoon. When fire trucks arrived, they blocked off the area and forced everyone out of the school. The bomb squad was then called to destroy the device. Teachers are now trying to educate children not to touch anything that looks suspicious.
Well, it's been exactly 1 month since two 9-year-old girls were hit by a speeding truck in Lakeside.
Christy Turner and Adina Gonzalez both died from their injuries, and the Lakeside community is still trying to cope with the loss.
News 8's Adriana Alcaraz is live in Lakeside, where people are getting ready for a candlelight vigil.
Pam and Don, that candlelight vigil begins at 7 o'clock right here at the crash site. Earlier today, there was a memorial service held for one of the girls whose life was cut too short. It was a celebration of Adina Gonzalez's life, a time for family and friends to remember the Lakeside girl who was known for her big smile and her gentle heart.
She was so special to me. She was my strength. Sometimes I wonder where God took her from me.
Adina's mom, Carol, says she still can't believe her little girl is gone. She says she often relives that tragic day exactly 1 month ago when Adina and her friends